into another edition of the PHNX Suns pregame show brought to you by our friends at DraftKings. Bet $5 on any NFL game. If you pick the winner, you're going to get $200 in free bets when you use that code PHNX for signing up with America's #1 sportsbook app. That is DraftKings. I am your host, Greg Esposito. Ahoy, hoy. As you'll notice, I am all by myself as everybody else is on assignment. We'll have some people join us this evening for our post-game show for Suns versus Rockets. I'll also have the man behind the Mac, Shane Diefenbach, join me later on in the show as we preview the game. But before we get to that, it has been a unique and interesting, a rough day in Suns world as ESPN's Baxter Holmes dropped an article today with allegations against Robert Sarver, including misogyny and racism. Lots of topics covered in there. If you want a full breakdown, highly recommend reading Baxter's piece and also going back and checking out our show from earlier in the day, both in audio and on the YouTube channel, where we get in depth in it. But what I do want to do is give you an update that's happened since we were last here. The league, in a statement, and we'll put this up here, announced that they will be investigating the Phoenix Suns. In a press release, they said, Executive Vice President of Communications Mike Bass said, "The allegations contained in today's ESPN article are extremely serious, and we have directed the Watchell Lipton law firm to commence a comprehensive investigation. The NBA and WNBA remain committed to providing a respectful and inclusive workplace for all employees. Once the investigation is completed, its findings will provide the basis for any league action," which we talked about earlier today, but that is step one in anything like this. A report like this comes out, there are damning allegations. An investigation had to be conducted by the NBA. It will now, and we know it'll be an outside firm that will conduct said investigation. Obviously, we have no idea how long the investigation will take, what it will look like, or what they will find. But this is step one in what will likely be a long process to understand what truly is going on within the Suns organization and looking at that. We also had former general manager Ryan McDonough, who released a statement via Twitter that we'll play right now.
I'm Ryan McDonough. I was general manager of the Phoenix Suns from 2013 to 2018. I read ESPN's story on the Suns franchise today, and I was deeply disturbed by the contents of it. So I want to lend my full support to Earl Watson, Corliss Williamson, and David Bodson for having the courage to speak in this story. I work directly with both Earl and Corliss, and I want everyone to realize how courageous these men are. I was happy to see Earl get hired by the Toronto Raptors this offseason, and I want to volunteer to serve as a reference for Corliss Williamson, as I have only good things to say about him, both personally and professionally. To the Suns players, you have my full support. Although we haven't worked together in a few years, I've really enjoyed watching the team grow and develop over the past few seasons. You have certainly represented the franchise and the community extremely well, and I feel badly that you're going to be the ones in front of the cameras and microphones going forward. To Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, and Mikal Bridges in particular, you guys know me. I've always supported you. I will continue to support you. I'm here for you if you need me, and you know how to get in touch with me. To the fans and the media, the Suns players deserve our full support. They had nothing to do with the behavior described in this story, so please realize the position they're in going forward and show them the respect and support they fully deserve. The NBA just said they're now going to launch an investigation, and whatever happens going forward will be based on the findings of that investigation. The contents of the ESPN article were certainly disturbing, and knowing Adam Silver and the talented folks at the league office, they'll investigate and uncover the truth, and that truth will be revealed in due time. I arrived in Phoenix in May of 2013, and I quickly realized not only what a special place Phoenix is, but what a special franchise the Suns are. I was fired by the Suns in the 2018 preseason, and despite having nothing tying me or my family to the Valley, we've remained here for the past 3 years because it is so special. The Suns franchise is also very special, and the franchise should be treated as a public trust. I have faith in Adam Silver and the folks at the league office to make sure the franchise is run appropriately going forward. The city deserves that. The fans deserve that. The current players and employees certainly deserve that. And I trust that's what will happen as soon as Adam and the folks at the league office conclude their investigation.
So that is former Suns general manager Ryan McDonough sharing his thoughts and his interesting perspective in terms of not placing this at the feet of the players and understanding what this organization really means to the Valley. I understand this is a unique time for a lot of people involved, and it's good to hear from some of those that were on the inside. Another person who was quoted in the Baxter Holmes piece and also is a former employee of the Phoenix Suns is former Suns head coach Earl Watson, who earlier today shared a statement that said, "I am not interested in engaging in an ongoing battle of fact. Instead, I want to applaud the courage of numerous players, executives, and staffers for fighting toxic environments of racial insensitivity, sexual harassment, and microaggressions with their truth. Basketball in 17 years in the NBA has allowed me the financial privilege to speak my truth, but we cannot forget about those who must remain silent for fear of losing their jobs. While our fortitude assists with progress, there is still more work to be done in the name of equality, and I believe that one of the strengths of our league is its ongoing commitment to justice. This has been a traumatic experience, one that has affected me profoundly, and I'm not willing to relive it every day, but I will not forget it, and I will address it more fulsomely at a point in the future where I feel ready." That was the words of former Suns head coach Earl Watson, who played a main part in the Baxter Holmes piece that was posted earlier today on ESPN. And look, like I said, we discussed a lot of this earlier, but as fans, as people who have been around the organization, worked in the organization, love this city, there's a lot of feelings today, all of which are valid and understandable. We, in a situation like this, we look to try to find a way to rationalize any of this or understand it in the moment, and it's difficult. And head coach Monty Williams talked about that today in his pregame, and I think put it pretty eloquently.
My reaction is it's a lot to process. There's so many things there, and it's, for me, it's still not clear as far as the facts are concerned. As someone who's a caretaker of the program, I find all of these things that are being said serious in nature, and these allegations are sensitive is an understatement. At the same time, they're just not clear yet. An article was written, many opinions were shared, many feelings were shared, but all of it happened before I was here. And based on what you all know about me, the little you know about me, if any of that stuff happened while I was here, I wouldn't be in this seat. And it's hard to navigate all of that stuff when you get the article 9 o'clock in the morning, right before or in the middle of a coaches meeting, and you're leading a group. And so it's just been a lot to process.
And I think it's been a lot to process for everybody, fans included. You, the fans that are watching this, the ones that are at the game tonight. The Suns are a public trust, which we've heard some people say. This is a team that is as much ours than anybody who's ever owned it. And this is difficult. This is tough and appalling to hear, and something that you care about. The investigation is necessary. We have to understand what's going on, what happened, and how it impacted everyday people. The hundreds of people that work in that building, the hundreds of people that pour their sweat and their tears, literally and figuratively, into making things work so we can watch a sport that we all love on a nightly basis and watch the best athletes perform at the highest level. I said it on the earlier show, but today, you look at what this team meant over the summer and during the bubble to a lot of people, and what it meant to bring the city back together after we had to be separated because of a global pandemic. There's a lot of positives that can come from a sports team. It's difficult to see the alleged negative side of what can happen as well. And there likely will be some dark days, some uncomfortable days in front of us as Suns fans. But the one thing is, regardless of owner, regardless of players or people that are involved with the franchise, the Suns are ours and the city's, and they will continue to be. There were dark days in the mid-'80s with a cocaine scandal, and it talks that may be the end of the team and that they may move. And it was tough, and it was uncomfortable for fans and those that covered the team and those involved with the team. And the franchise persevered, and it'll happen here too. The truth will come out. It'll be understood. And in the end, hopefully it's a better Phoenix Suns organization for everybody, fans, employees, players, and everyone alike. Because today is about the people and the people involved, and understanding how that can happen, and how things could allegedly happen, and what did happen, and how it can be made better. And so we'll leave it at that. If anything breaks or comes about during the game, we'll talk about it in the post game. But there is basketball to talk about tonight, and as difficult as it can be sometimes when you've got a larger world event to discuss as well, we're gonna power through, and we're gonna talk about a little Suns versus Rockets. I'm gonna welcome in the man behind the Mac, Shane Diefenbach, who's gonna be kind of my co-pilot on the rest of the show as we talk about a little Suns basketball as we look at it. Look, Shane, Rockets Suns tonight. Our friends at DraftKings have this line at 10.5. If we want to show the line of the night there, what are your initial reactions here to at a 10.5 point spread, and what you think it will happen? So
there's just a lot of noise going on. Obviously, 10.5 is a lot of points. The Suns shouldn't have covered their last spread of, I think it was 10.5 also against the Pelicans. And they ended up doing that in the latter half of the fourth quarter because of a run by Devin Booker. So I think they might need another spark like that tonight. Maybe they come out and play. The Rockets aren't a great team, aside from a few young guys. The Suns are the better team, clearly. So, yeah, I think they should cover this game, but a lot of outside stuff. And just how the team has been playing in the first 6 games of the season, it's a lot of points.
Look, I am surprised that the day's events didn't impact that line. It didn't move much. But, yeah, I think this is going to be a tough one to cover. Again, and let's make this our DraftKings pick of the week. I'm just going to throw it out there right now. I would take the Suns to win on the money line, but I would take the Rockets and the points. I know it's counterintuitive because the Rockets have lost 5 straight, and 5 of their 6 losses this year have been by double digits. So everything there says that it makes that it makes sense, but that the Rockets would lose by double digits. But I think I'd take the points with the Rockets tonight. That'll be my DraftKings pick of the game. If you want to get involved with the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's #1 sportsbook app, recommend that you download that today. Use that code PHNX when you sign up. If you bet $5 on any NFL team, you're going to get $200 in free bets if that team wins. It is just that easy. DraftKings app is safe, secure, and reliable. And the best part is you can get your winnings out quick. It is easy, and I really, really do enjoy it. And some of my favorite things is some of the money back they'll give you on same game parlays, things like that you can do. So go check it out. Highly recommend it. That's the DraftKings Sportsbook, America's #1 sportsbook app. Use the code PHNX and then put down $5 on any NFL team. If they win, you're taking home $200 in free bets. It's just that easy. 21 and over, Arizona only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. New customers only. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Shane, let's look a little bit at the matchup tonight. We did get some good news on the Suns front, which we can we can all be happy about that.
Sure.
DeAndre Ayton is actually playing this evening, Coach, according to Coach Monty Williams. That brings us to our matchup of the game, as Christian Wood for the Rockets versus DeAndre Ayton for the Suns. Christian Wood averaging 20.1 points per game versus DeAndre Ayton's 13.8 points per game. 12 rebounds for Wood, 11.5 roughly for Ayton, and 0.7 blocks for Wood, 0.6 blocks for Ayton. I feel like this is going to be a tough matchup for DeAndre Ayton, Shane, especially coming off the injury. He's not going to, you're not easing him in having to play a guy like Christian Wood.
Well, Christian Wood is a scorer from multiple levels. I mean, I was shocked to see that he's shooting 6 threes a game this year. And not only that, but he's hitting almost 40% of them. So DA is going to have to move a lot tonight, on defense especially. But Christian Wood is a tough rebounder, and to me, rebounding is a lot of effort, and that's one thing DA has been harped on for a while. So if he wants to show that he deserves the bag, I mean, outworking a guy like Christian Wood is the right way to go.
Yeah, Blaze Megatron and Long John Silver 85 in the chat, both talking about limiting minutes for DA, and I'd imagine that will be the case tonight coming off that contusion. But still, you're going to need him to play solid tonight to be in the game against Christian Wood. You're also going to need JaVale McGee and likely Frank Kaminsky to step up like they did the other night as well. So it'll be interesting to see that. Devin Booker's got to get right here too, Shane. I can't see another poor shooting start from him and see the Suns team being able to pull another one out by the skin of their teeth. I think they need him to be Devin Booker. They need a statement win tonight to kind of show that they are back from a basketball perspective.
Yeah, I think that this game's going to be really decided from the three-point line. I mean, this team shoots a lot of threes, the Rockets do, and they're hot and cold, and that's why they lose by a lot of points when they do lose, because they aren't hitting their threes. And so it's going to be very dependent on their three-point shooting. That's why they can either keep it close and maybe the Suns don't cover that 10.5 point spread, or they get hot and we see another game like the Blazers where the Suns go down early and never come back. So.
Yeah, and to the chat, yes, I know that Christian Wood plays primarily for, that it won't be a direct matchup, but as big guys and switches, it's going to happen throughout the game. You're still going to need a big effort against DeAndre Ayton to match with the bigs of Houston in particular. Christian Wood there. Another guy out there for Houston tonight is this number 2 pick overall. It's Jalen. I almost said Jalen Smith. That's how long of a day it's already been. Jalen Green of the Rockets, who was the number 1 overall pick, and he is averaging 14.6 points on the year. But one thing about this guy is he is not afraid to chuck it. He's only shooting 37.8% on the year from the field, but on 14 shots per game. I expect to see him shoot a lot tonight for a Rockets team that's sitting at 1-6.
I mean, why wouldn't you? You're a young guy on a team that is full of young guys. So you have the opportunity to score as much as possible. I mean, he's a G League guy. He's always kind of been that guy. So going up to the next level in the NBA, nothing's really changed. I mean, Christian Wood is one of their older guys at 25. So yeah, I applaud him for his confidence in shooting so much, but man, he's shooting poor on the road at that.
I'm going to call my shot right here tonight. I think this is the Cam Johnson return to form game. He struggled through the first 6, but I feel like tonight is the night that we see him bounce back. We see the flashes that we saw in the playoffs from him, and he and McHale have a big impact on the Suns team, hopefully getting a victory and pushing that Rockets losing streak to 6. Yes, Long John Silver, I see your comment that you need them to give Cam Johnson the ball more. I agree. They definitely should do that and get that flow back. That's the key here. Suns offense hasn't had that flow. and have not seen them play a full game at the level that we know that they could based on what they did in last season. You've seen flashes of it in quarters throughout games this year, but you haven't seen a complete game. And it feels like against a Rockets team that's ailing, this may be the opportunity to get right and get out there and get that offense going again.
This is going to be the game that can really make or break the Suns this early in the season. I mean, we talk about not panicking and not worrying too much, but if you can't get up for a game against the Rockets, I know there's a lot of noise going around, but on paper, this should be a beatdown. And if this is another game where they come out flat, I mean, that there's just no confidence in how the Suns can come out against a playoff team come next week.
Well, let's throw up my keys to the game here. And let's just remember, look, tonight's game, who knows how this is going to look. I obviously not out there. We don't know if the players will do anything or make any kind of statement out there. But in the end, some things are bigger than basketball. There will be a basketball game tonight. We hope the Suns will win, but it's been a rough and a long day. And I'm sure it has been for Monty Williams, for every one of the coaches on that staff, and for the players. So we'll see how they react tonight on the court as they take on the Houston Rockets down at the Footprint Center. We will be back after the game. I will have Shane Diefenbach and Derek Montilla joining me for the post-game show. We'll also have Gerald Bourguet joining us live from the Footprint Center with a reaction from head coach Monty Williams and the players. So we will talk to you after the game. Ahoy, hoy.